Okay, I got. I gotta share this. Okay, I gotta share this. This is funny. Okay. All right, let me take this off. All right. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm reading. All right. So I'm reading this Second Kings chapter 4. Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Oh goodness, this is funny. Okay. So, all right. So I'm reading in Second Kings chapter 4, and I spent like a long time with the first two stories in Second Kings. I spent a long time reading it, and finally I got to the point where okay, I'm past the first two stories. Like, so I'm reading the third story in Second Kings chapter 4. This is with Elisha, Elisha the prophet, and so Elisha is in a place called Gilgal, and let me show y'all where Gilgal is on the map. Since I got the map here and I could do it. Hold on, let me. Oh darn, phone call coming through. I'll be right back because I got to get this phone call. Okay. Okay, so I am back and I've calmed down from giggling. How I was giggling at first, and like, man. So anyway, let me show you where on here on the map where he's at. So, and he meaning Elisha. Okay, so here's a map, and here is Gilgal right here, that little spot. And if you notice, it says Elisha purifies a poisoned pot of stew. And then here's Judah down here. Jerusalem is up in here somewhere. Where is it? Right there. Jerusalem is right there. Jebus, Jerusalem is right there, and Gilgal is right there. Just to give you an idea of where everything is at for this story I'm about to tell y'all. Okay, so this is Second Kings. It is chapter 4, verse number 38. It starts at verse 38 and it goes to verse 41. So here's the story. It says, and Elisha returned to Gilgal. So Gilgal was what I just showed you on the map. It says, and there was a famine in the land. Now, y'all know when it's a famine, you know, like food shortage, a famine. So there's a shortage of food in the land. So it says, now the sons of the prophets were sitting before him, again, Elisha, and he said to his servant, put on the large pot and boil stew for the sons of the prophets. So, you know, y'all know how it is when food is short. You know, that's when you start breaking out those dry beans and and like adding a little bit of meat to it, but you kind of had like the bean. I remember those days from my grandma. Like she used to cook beans. If I remember correctly, hearing my mom speak about it, but they had, like, they would eat meat on Sundays, I think it was, and they would have, like, you know, your stews. And so anyway, talking about when she was growing up, because I don't remember that being the case when I was a baby. When I was little with grandma, I really don't remember. I remember anyway, let's not get off of this. So they went to go, remember, it's a famine in the land, and they went to go put on a large pot of stew. So this one servant goes out into the field, and he gathers herbs, right? So that reminds me, I know of another lady who, from back when I was younger, and I remember them talking about winter greens. And so those are like, man, how old was I? How old? Like I'm trying to remember the story, and I'm trying to remember how old was I, and where was we walking? I think we were out walking. I can't even remember if we were on the west side of Chicago, which takes back to my age. I just remember being out. I remember being young. I remember being outside with one of the adults. I don't remember who. Like, I don't remember if it was a friend of the family. I don't remember if it was like my grandma. I don't remember if it was like my babysitter, like when I was little. I don't remember. I just remember being out, and I remember hearing someone talk to me about winter greens, and they were showing me, like, we were walking. I remember being on a sidewalk or something and being shown this group of weeds, or whatever, what I would call weeds, but they were saying, these are winter greens. They when they were younger, they would pick those, and I probably need to go ahead and look up winter greens. So anyway, so again, they're out in this field. It says, so some, verse 39, so one went out into the field to gather herbs and found a wild vine. Now here's something that we garden. Well, my husband gardens. I goes out there and I pull the weeds and chop the weeds and stuff like that, or cut the grass or however, but he's the big gardener, and he's successful with what he does. So, about a week ago, he had me go out. He asked me to, go out and cut the grass down. Like, it was a lot of, well, it wasn't grass. It was a lot of leaves that had fallen off the trees. And so, one of the things that we do also is we compost. And, the leaves, all of that is soil. Like, he looks at that and he sees it as soil. So, he had me go and, quote unquote, cut the grass. In actuality, in cutting the grass, it's really breaking up the leaves and sucking it into the bag where we could dump it over into the composting. So I was out there doing that, and there was some areas where I had to move some things, and like move some old hoses or whatever, and or pick up big branches that had fallen down, during one of the rainstorms or however. So I had stopped to do that. I think I was recharging the lawnmower, and I was picking up stuff, and I seen this vine, and the vine is so thick, y'all. The vine was so thick, and it was long, and it was coming from a tree. And I literally had to get some scissors to cut the vine. Like, some vines you could like break them up, but this vine is thick and sturdy. And so I had to cut it, and it was long, so I'm like pulling it up, and so I'm thinking, so when it says here, they was out in the field to gather herbs, and they found a wild vine. It says, and gathered from it a lap full of wild gourds. So now I want to go look that up, and because I wanted to know, like, what was that? What did it look like? And so when I initially typed into Google wild gourds, what it showed was a lot of different squashes. You know how during this time of the year, not this time now, but a couple of months ago, back when the nation was celebrating Halloween, getting ready for Halloween, and they're usually around that time, they have a lot of different squashes and pumpkins and a lot of different sizes and shapes and colors. And so the wild gourds, those are fall into that family. But also I looked at one, and it was saying that this particular one was in the family of, it's called a buffalo gourd, and it is in the and this is the buffalo gourd. That's why I started giggling, because the buffalo gourd is the one that they were talking about here in this story. So like, you get different squashes, and you could cook them up. You got your yellow squash, you got them long green things. I can't even think what they're called right now, but you have all these different types of squashes. You got the spaghetti squash, and I can tell you, but like I've cooked the spaghetti squash before, and I can tell you it stinks. It stinks. Like literally, first of all, it's hard to cut, you know, to cut evenly. It's hard to cut. But once you get it cut open and you break it out, then you have to take all these seeds out of there. And those seeds stink, which is why I don't cook it that often. I don't cook it that often. We even tried to grow them. But you know, once you take all the seeds out, I threw the seeds away, and then you season it, you know, oil it and oil it down, season it, turn it upside down, and put it in the oven and let it cook. And then once it's done cooking, it'll be soft, and you can scrape for the spaghetti squash. You can scrape it, and it's stringy like spaghetti, and then you add your whatever meats and sauces you're gonna, you know, you eat that. And so I've had that before, but I'm not a big gourd eater. At all, you know. Yeah, so anyway, this one particular gourd is called a buffalo gourd, and it looks like a mini when it's not ripe, it looks like a mini watermelon, and they literally say it's in a watermelon family. So it looks like a little mini watermelon, but when it's ripe, the skin is yellow. But the unripe ones, they're like green with the stripes. Like I say, it looks like a mini watermelon. And so I saw this video today, and this guy he went to first, he like broke a little piece off and kind of like tasted it, like rubbed it on his tongue, and he was like, no. And then he cooked it to see if, you know, that would make a difference. And he did a lot of research. He showed like all the research he was doing, and how it was a lot of conflicting information, where some was saying, you know, that you could cook it and you could eat it, but when you cook it, like, make sure you're doing the ones that are not ripe, because the ones that are ripe, you definitely can't eat those. And so anyway, like he's
don't do this, you know, take this as an educational video, because I've been seeing a lot of conflicting information on whether or not this thing is edible. Some websites say flat out fruits are not edible. Other ones say that you can eat it, but there's a lot of rules. Supposedly, the flesh on this is edible when it's like this, but there are a lot of resources online that also say, don't touch this thing, it is poison. So there's the inside. There is really not a lot of flesh. Although people say you can eat this when it's unripe, there's not much there to eat. There's like a teeny little bit of flesh on the outside, but that's about it. It smells like a gourd, you know? Vegetable-y, squashy. I definitely think you can't eat this raw, but I'm just gonna taste a teeny bit just to see what it's like. Oh yeah. No, you don't want to eat that. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna rinse out my mouth. I'll tell you what that tastes like in a second. Ever just go under your kitchen cabinet, grab like a bottle of something without even like looking at it and just taking a swig of it? That's what that tastes like. It tastes what I imagine poison tastes like. So when people say you shouldn't eat this thing, they're onto something. I think even cooking this is probably not going to do anything. Flavor of chemical will go away. Kind of doubt it though. I think this is inedible, guys. I'm gonna boil them like a squash, so probably 5 minutes or so until they start to turn translucent. You may notice a lot of bubbles. That is because this has soap in it. This is not going to taste good. It's lathering up as I boil it. Oh. No.
He cooked it, and then after cooking it, like he cooked it like you would cook the squash, like boiled it in water or whatever. And then he tried rubbing it apart. Like he didn't chew it, he didn't bite down in and chew it. He just like kind of rubbed it on his tongue, And that's why I was laughing, because I'm like, I get it. Because what he said in the video reminded me of what I was reading in Second Kings. And so I was now able to picture what I was reading. So here, back to Second Kings chapter 4. This is verse number 39. I'm gonna start there again. So it says, so one went out into the field to gather herbs and found a wild vine and gathered from it a lapful of wild gourds and came and sliced them into the pot of stew. So though they did not know what they were, it said they didn't know what they were, they just found it and it looked like a fruit. So like it literally does, it looks like a mini watermelon. So he sliced it up and put it in a stew. It says, verse 40, then they were served it. Then they served it to the men to eat. Now it happened as they were eating the stew that they cried out and said, man of God, there's death in the pot. It was that buffalo gourd. It said, man of God, there is death in the pot. And they could not eat it. So he said, then bring some flour. And he put it into the pot and said, serve it to the people that they may eat it. And there was nothing harmful in the pot. I need to go to that guy's video. I need to go to that guy's video on YouTube and tell him how to cook it. I need to go and tell that man on YouTube that the prophet Elijah said put some flour in the pot and it won't be harmful. It won't taste bad. I just wanted to share that. Listen, these stories, people. Okay. Oh, good night. Oh my goodness. Like, that is really funny to me. And it's funny because I wouldn't like, okay, so I've read this story many times. I've read this story before about the death in the pot. I've read that before. And it never like triggered me how it did today, where I'm laughing over it. And it didn't do that because I didn't bother to, like, I read it. I just read it, you know, and then I went to the next story. I did not bother to look it up and see, you know, okay, what was that? What was it that he found? You know, what was this going? Because he literally tell us, it says, that it was a lap full of wild gourds. It literally say wild gourds. So I just took the time and, you know, Googled, what's a wild gourd? Like, what is it? What is it? And then when I saw them, the first thing that I saw the picture of it, and I'm going to post a picture of the wild gourds here with the video. So I'm actually going to take the time to edit this video. So this you can see what they look like. But you would have seen these wild gourds in the store. They're in your grocery stores, especially around the time of Halloween. You know, when everybody's getting ready for Halloween, and then right behind Halloween, not Easter, y'all. I'm sorry. Halloween, Thanksgiving. Let's see, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. All of those three like fall right together. And so you have a lot of that out because people are doing their decorations and all that other stuff. And so these wild gourds, like, look, the guy in the video, like, he was like, there's really no, this guy just did not know what to do with these things because he had several of them that was sent to him. And they're little round, they look like watermelon. They look like mini watermelons. Like, y'all know, you go and get the really large watermelons, and you know they're watermelons, then you go get a smaller version of the watermelons, you know, during this time. And that's what they look like. They look like an even smaller version, like softball size, you know, orange, like gigantic orange size, softball size, a smaller version of them. So, yeah, I just thought that was funny because to hear them make that comment, you know, that there's death in the pot and they couldn't eat that. there's death in the pot. And then to have seen this video where this man was showing this particular gourd, and he was like, beware, do not try to eat this thing, but to actually see it in our time, in our day and age, to see that these things literally exist, and to see what it was that they ate so many years ago back then. And then, like I said, I need to go back to that man's video and tell him, well, the prophet Elijah said, if you put some flour into the pot, you could be able to eat it then. Because this guy, he just boiled it. Like, he literally just boiled it. Like, did he season it or anything? I don't think so. And when you cut it open, it looks like it's not a lot of flesh to it. It looks like a bunch of just seeds. And some people were saying that you can eat the seeds. Like, you know how you would eat like sunflower seeds or whatever. Like, and just trust and believe. I ain't eating none of that because I'm not a gourd person anyway. So I'm not eating any of that. But I just thought that was so funny. Look, you just can't eat everybody cooking. I gotta go. Listen. I don't know about y'all, but I found the Bible just be hilarious. It is some amazing stories in God's word, like literally some amazing stories in God's word. And it be some funny ones in there too, like literally some funny stories in there too. And I thought that was a funny one, and I just wanted to share it. Okay, I gotta get back to my studies. Bye, y'all.